I'm a huge fan of Silicon Valley. And, you talked about your dad scene stealing. I felt every time John Stafford was on the screen that he stole scenes. And what's incredible about a character like John Stafford stealing scenes is he doesn't have much to say. He doesn't have much to do in a variety or an energy way. And yet, somehow, in the simplicity of John Stafford, every time it cracks me up, whether he's just walking through the warehouse of, storage boxes, or best is that Guilfoyle episode where clearly they should be best friends.
Oh yeah.
Doesn't want it. And you just sit.
Well, this is the closest I've ever had to having an actual friend at work, and, yeah, no, that was such a blast. I mean, really, that's the expression, nice work if you can get it, it's like, it'd be nice if we could all just say, that's what I want to do for a living. But,
Right.
I'm at the mercy of whether that was a very lucky thing for me to get called in for that. And the way it happened is Mike Judge, who obviously is one of the creators, said, or he was a fan of my web series, Henry's Kitchen. And he was just like, let's have this guy come on here and do something similar to what he's doing already. And so that I was like, that I can do. I mean, throughout my life, I've always sort of backed into acting auditions because somebody saw me on stage as a stand-up comic and thought, oh, maybe this guy would be good for that. And I never got very far. But this one, I was like, well, yeah, I can do that because I'm already kind of doing it anyway. And it's really what I'm used to. So it really was a nice marriage. I'm really happy with it. And Mike Judge even told me one time that he was in Austin and some guy came up to him at a bar or something and said, I love that you put the kitchen guy in your show. And I was like, yes, okay, good. That's nice to have.
It was there were so many auxiliary characters. I mean, Jimmy O Yang's Jin Yang is another one that
he's so great.
Just crying at some of the scenes between him and TJ Miller. I mean, that was one of the great things for me in watching that show. I'd be alone and I would be laughing out loud. And that is a true.
Oh, absolutely. That's the way the show is. It's just, it's laugh out loud funny. It's just like just the little jokes.
What I love in Silicon Valley is the little things that carry over, just that your character had this continuation was such a joy, or Jin Yang, or the billionaire that always is saying to Zach Wood's character, this guy fucks,
yeah, it's great. Oh yeah. And then what's the joke about, the one that was killing me? I think it was in the last season about look, I don't want to turn this into a dick measuring contest. And I think Kumail is like, I thought a dick measuring contest is who can measure the most dicks. And then there's a great callback to it later where the other guy's like, look, if we get into a dick measuring contest, I'm going to measure the most. Yeah, it was just, it's like that kind of stuff is just so brilliant. Yeah.
Now you have would you say a relationship with Mike at this point? I mean, you two.
Yeah, we've actually worked together on a couple things. There was, I had a web series called.
Actually, do you have any coffee?
Can I ask, between you and him, just the building of that character, the physicality, the idea of the ponytail, dad jeans? I mean, there's a lot for the simplicity of him.
Okay, yeah, I'm hoping I'm not giving away too much inside information, but I believe that when they did a tour of the facility, this is a rumor, but unless it's okay for me to say, in which case it's totally true. No, but I think the guy who gave them the tour of the place basically was John Stafford. He was not with that name, but he basically was a guy with jeans and a bed, a laminate, and keys, and the laminate looked way too much like he was from a time before he was dead inside. And yeah.
I am so glad that you touched on the laminate, because it's clearly from 20 to 25 years earlier.
Yeah.
It's clearly 1991. Life was good. He probably served.
John was beaten by life. Yeah, he was probably at the happy hour at the El Torito or whatever, doing karaoke, and yeah. I think that it was just sort of, because here's the deal with those server farms, I think they're called. There's one in Marina del Rey, and it's it just goes as far as the eye can see down these corridors. And there's the hum of these air conditioners that keep these servers alive. And it's like Facebook and, you know, video games like Candy Crush and all this stuff. I don't know which particular ones, but they all need servers. So they run out this server space. There's people probably that know way more about this that are like, what the hell is this guy talking about? But there's a guy whose job it is to just sort of walk around there and make sure everything's kind of that one of the ACs didn't go out or whatever, you know, and there's no other people that work in this thing, and there's no sun, there's no windows, because I think it's underground, and I think it sits on springs, so that if there were an earthquake, it would just kind of move a little bit, but it wouldn't like break down, you know? So it's really an amazing thing, but just the human factor. It's not like you get a crush on the cute girl at work and you're hoping that you can ask her out to happy hour afterward. I mean, it's literally just one guy who walks around.
The phrase I'd use was endless banality.
Yeah, absolutely.